president mentioned 3 weeks ago.
Just visit healthcare.gov.
Hey, good morning, friends and neighbors. What do you say? It's a Thursday, October 24. In fact, good to see you today. And welcome to the Bill Press Show here from our nation's capital and our studio on Capitol Hill to bring you up to date on the latest. Not much happening on the Hill today because most members of Congress are going to be in Florida for the funeral of former Congressman Bill Young, who died a few days ago. The oldest member of Congress and the longest-serving member of the Congress. But here in Washington, it is all about the health exchanges, and we still hear the lame excuses from the administration that all the problems were caused by so many people going onto the website, so much traffic they hadn't anticipated. And the latest is, well, you know, a lot of Americans just aren't tech savvy. Yeah, well, even tech savvy people can't work their way through this website. That's the problem. No doubt the problem will be fixed. The only question now is how long. We've got the best and brightest coming in to fix it. We got the technical surge underway, but of course it's too bad these problems. They should not have happened in the first place. In other news, on drones, a Human Rights Watch earlier this week said that drones could be a war crime. Washington Post reported that, in fact, surprise, surprise, the United States and Pakistan have had a secret deal to allow drone strikes in Pakistan all along. Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, made an angry phone call yesterday to President Obama to say, stop spying on my cell phone. Apparently, NSA was listening in on her conversations. And as we learned last night, the Red Sox are in it for business. They're in it to win it. Are they ever? Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. Here we go with the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Angela Merkel tells President Obama, "Stop spying on my cell phone, damn it." I don't know what that would be in German, but she wasn't happy. Good morning, everybody. What do you say? Guten Tag. Great to see you today. Or maybe that's how she started her conversation with the president yesterday. We are the Bill Press Show, and that's me. We're coming to you live from our nation's capital on this Thursday, October 24. So good to see you today. And thank you for joining us here on your local progressive talk radio station. Talk radio early in the morning. It's just good to be with you. Good to have you wherever you happen to be in this great land of ours, on your local talk radio station. And on Free Speech TV, for those of you glued to the tube, on your satellite dish, DirecTV, or Dish Network. And, of course, if you prefer to go to your computer and watch while you're doing some other work there, you can do so thanks to TawkrTV. That's youtube.com/TawkrTV. We'll tell you what's going on this morning here in our nation's capital, around the country, around the globe, and we'll give you a chance to tell us what you think about it all at 866-55-PRESS, particularly on these health exchanges. We'll talk a lot about that again today, and I want to hear from you. What has been your experience? We know you've been online. You've been checking it out. Have you bought health insurance? Have you shopped around for it? What have you found out? 866-55-PRESS, the toll-free number. And on Twitter, you can send us your comments and your experience, relay your experiences at BP Show. And on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. What do you say, team? Good morning.
Hey there, Bill.
Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning.
Bitte hören Sie meine Privatanrufe nicht an, would be the polite way of saying, please don't listen to my phone calls.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, very good.
Okay.
How many radio shows would you hear that on? I mean, you know what? Well, it's important, though, that we speak many languages because we're seen in so many countries.
So many different countries.
What was it? Cyprian told us, like 133
We've been everywhere,
countries.
Man. Yeah.
And somebody said, I heard somebody yesterday mention something about Belarus, and I thought, Belarus.
Our people.
That's one of our countries.
Our people.
Yeah. We got people in Belarus.
Good morning, Belarus.
Alicia Cruz has the phones covered. And those people can see us around the globe because Cyprian Bolding uncovered the cameras this morning.
Yes, he did.
I know. Sometimes he forgets to unplug the cameras. Or, uncover the cameras. Or sometimes people stand in front of the cameras.
Yeah, that's happened too.
All right, yeah. So, how about them Red Sox? Okay.
How about them Red Sox?
They
What a game.
sent the message in the very first inning, the second half of the first. What do they call it? That's the bottom of the first, right? I always get that mixed up. Of
course.
Anyhow.
Well, that's weird because you're such a big sports fan.
I know, exactly. Anyhow, here he is. It was Mike Napoli up at the plate.
The 6'7" right-hander Wainwright delivers. Swinging, there's a shot. Rifle in the left center. It's into the alley. It's on the grass. It's on the track. It's up against the wall. Ellsbury scores. Pedroia scores. Big Poppy churning around. He will score. He slides in. That's a 3-run double. 3-0 Boston.
Cleared the bases on a double, man. But all right, okay, let's get it. That call at second base. Boy, was the umpire right? Was the guy safe, or should he have been out?
Oh, he was absolutely safe. No. The second baseman never caught the ball. He did not have possession of that ball. That umpire was incorrect, and they got together. The manager was good to come out and argue it. They came together and they said it was a mistake, and it was a very good of them to call it a mistake.
Matheny or whatever his name is. He demanded not a replay, but a
conference.
A conference.
He wanted
and I haven't seen that before. All the umpires got together. But clear, I agree with you. He was safe. The guy dropped the ball. He never had the ball.
Absolutely.
The ball was never in his glove.
They
never
barely touched it. Yeah. That was bad.
His foot was on the bag, which I think is what threw off the umpire.
Yeah, because they did not. You can't blame the umpire for making the call in that split second the way he did, because he was looking at the feet. He was looking at the plate, which is really what he should be doing, because he's looking for who gets to the bag first. Yeah. And he didn't have his eyes on the ball.
But that was a game changer.
Oh yeah,
because
totally
overall that
could have been a double play.
Yeah, I mean it was a mistake by the Cardinals, but overall the Cardinals just played awful baseball last night.
I didn't see, because I watched the first few innings, but then Carol was telling me later on there was a ball that dropped in between two outfielders,
the pitcher and the catcher in the third inning, I believe. Yeah, it was a high right off the plate. It went 15 feet towards the pitcher mound high. And Wainwright, the pitcher, and the catcher just watched the ball drop right in between.
No big deal.
No.
It's not like it's the World Series.
Exactly. It's just another game. Yeah. Yeah. I have to tell you, the coach of the Cardinals last night, if we can play that clip, I thought he manned up last night.
We had a wake-up call. That is not the kind of team that we've been all season. And they're frustrated. I'm sure embarrassed to a point. We get an opportunity to show the kind of baseball we played all season long, and it didn't look anything like what we saw tonight.
No whining, no nothing. Just
he's right.
Yep, yeah.
I mean, no, they were a dominant baseball team, and I don't think that they're going to go away quietly in the World Series.
No. But and Fenway Park, man, they say. It's brutal.
When it's the World Series and you lose by a touchdown, you should maybe.
It's funny because there haven't been that many high-scoring games through the playoffs, but this one, wow. At any rate, we got a big lineup for you today. We'll start off with David Jackson a little bit later this hour from the White House for USA Today. Medea Benjamin from Code Pink is going to be here to talk about drones. They're a lot in the news these days. And Danny Canner from the Democratic Governors Association here to talk about the big race in Virginia, other races around the country. They're just a few of our many, many guests we're bringing you this morning here on the Bill Press Show. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Thursday, staying with the World Series for a second. A bold prediction by a Massachusetts congressman on the series, which got underway last night where Boston won. Ahead of the game, Democrat Michael Capuano went on the record with the Hill newspaper and said, quote, 4-out. Yes, he believes that the Red Sox will sweep the St. Louis Cardinals for the championship. Would not put money where his mouth is, but said that's what's going to happen. If they play like they did last night, every game could happen.
A sweep would be unlikely.
I
can say a sweep would be unlikely.
A legendary magazine publishing group is getting rid of its college intern program. Condé Nast, which puts out Vogue, Vanity Fair, and The New Yorker, among others, was recently sued by former unpaid interns, saying they should have been paid as regular full-time employees for the amount of work they did during their time there. So no more coffee runs by college students for magazine writers at all.
Yeah, that's why we got rid of all of our interns, too.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now that Good Morning America is the morning network TV ratings leader, it's obvious that its hosts want more money. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting that current negotiations for new deals for Robin Roberts, Laura Spencer, and Josh Elliott are, quote, a nightmare for ABC's president. No word on how it may turn out, but if history shows any pattern, last time Matt Lauer almost walked out on NBC, they gave him $25 million. He stayed. And when Roger Ailes almost walked out on Fox, Rupert Murdoch gave him $30 million, and he stayed.
Why isn't George Stephanopoulos in that?
I guess he's not in. Maybe he's not in. Isn't up right now. But these three contracts are currently up and being negotiated.
So, like $25 million, is that what's on the line?
Sounds like that's the going rate for a morning show host. There,
man.
I know Ben Sherwood, the president of ABC. He's a friend of mine. If you're listening, Ben, I'll do it for half of that. 12 and a half. I know good. It's humbling, humiliating, but I'll do it for that.
You'll lower yourself.
I'll lower myself to that just because we're friends. Thank you, Ben.
Nice of you.
Yes. Okay. On the health exchanges, that's still the big talk of the town here and the big talk of the country on the news and even on the with the late night comics these days. Now, a couple of things about it. Number one, a lot of people are starting to focus on enrollment. At the White House briefings, a lot of reporters every day. There are two or three reporters who say, "Well, tell us how many people have signed up so far." That's the real test. How many people have signed up? Forget about the problems with the exchanges. We want to know how many people put their name on the dotted line. That's not the focus right now. And the White House has said, "We'll tell you in time. What we plan to do is once a month, start in the middle of the month, we're going to give you an update on how many people have enrolled by then, but we're not going to do it day by day by day." And you know what? They're doing the right thing. Enrollment, how many people have signed up, should not be the focus right now. Just want you to know that. There was a good article that came out yesterday in the New Republic, which shows why. And the only thing we have to go by the way, is Massachusetts, because that's the only state that had this a plan like this beforehand. And the reality is, and you know this because we all do it, we don't buy right away. We shop, right? Unless it's something you've got to have. Mm-hmm. And here people have 6 months, so there ain't no hurry. And people go in and they either online or in person, and they poke around and they maybe try things on and think about it. But it's a big expense, and then they finally buy. And usually, in this case, when you get a penalty if you don't buy, they'll buy at the last minute. I just wanted to give you some numbers in Massachusetts on this one particular plan. People who got subsidies from the state of Massachusetts to buy health insurance, so there's a parallel there, a good comparison. Eventually, 36,167 people signed up. They had 11 months to sign up, by the way. Eventually, 36,167 signed up. In the first month, at the end of the first month, they had exactly 123 people. Now, at that point, everybody would have said, what a dismal failure, right? At the end of 2 months, they had 2,289 people. Again, people would have said, this is a joke. It's not going to work. It's a failure. It's a bust. 11 months comes along. People know, hey, if I don't sign up today, I'm going to get a big fine tomorrow. Boom, 36,167. Just want to make the point, if you hear people talking about enrollment, don't worry about it. It'll get there. In fact, I think that's one of the big issues also that we got to stress, as we did yesterday and again today. Obamacare is here to stay. It's a good program. Could be better. It's a good program. It's an important program. It's going to help millions and millions and millions of Americans. And eventually they're going to get it fixed. And if people won't have to pay a fine unless the program is fixed and it's easy to sign up for. So, and the program is a lot more than this website. But for now, the focus really is on this website. And remember, when he launched it, President Obama said, easy peasy, no problem.
Just visit healthcare.gov, and there you can compare insurance plans side by side the same way you'd shop for a plane ticket on Kayak or a TV on Amazon.
Not quite. Not quite, right? No, hasn't turned out that way. And so we've heard about all the problems. I mean, the problems are people have to put their whole profile on and be accepted before they can shop, which is just the opposite of the way it is on Amazon, right? Or ProFlowers or anything. You can shop all around, and it's only at the end when you decide to buy that you have to put all that information in there. They have it asked backwards. Insurance companies were getting some wrong information from the site. People were being quoted the wrong prices. Sometimes the system would crash right in the middle, and everything you'd done so far would have been lost, and you had to start from scratch. All kinds of problems. And we heard lame excuses from the administration, over and over about, this is just because so many people are coming to the website. We just couldn't handle all the volume. But the latest, get this, HHS Secretary Kathleen Sebelius saying, it's not our fault, it's your fault because you're too damn computer illiterate.
It is certainly a tool, and we think it can be an easy tool for people who are tech savvy and want to use a website. And we're determined that it be a lot easier than it is right now. What I know, though, is that lots of people, and people I talk to every day, are not tech savvy.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, okay. Well, you know what? Number one, that's why the site should be so easy to use that even people who are not tech savvy can do it. But two, there are a lot of people who are tech savvy who can't. It doesn't work even if you're tech savvy. It doesn't work. You know what? They've got to admit this is a system problem. The system is screwed up. So now they brought all these. There's I love this phrase. The tech surge is underway at the White House. Tech surge.
Can we please not with the surge talk again?
Yeah.
Did the surge work? Who supported the surge?
God. And it's 24/7. They're going to get it fixed. Here's the question I got for you. Number one, what has been your experience when you've checked in? Have you found it? Have you been able to get in? Have you been able to shop around? Have you been able to sign up? 866-55-PRESS. And how long do you think it's going to take to get it fixed? How long do they have to get it fixed? I think they're all right. If they can fix it, I'll put myself. If they can fix it within the next 2 weeks, this is going to be a non-issue. Okay? If they don't have it in the next 2 weeks, I'd even say by November 1st, if they don't have it by then, a month later, they're in deep doo-doo. 866-55-PRESS. Let's talk about it here on the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
Listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
I think somebody should fix it. And I'm a big, I'm a big believer, coming from where I do in California, I have great confidence in technology and its ability to bring fresh eyes to the subject and fix it so that we can go forward. Just fix it. Just fix it.
Just fix it, says Nancy Pelosi. That's it. Stop whining, stop complaining, stop giving excuses. Fix the damn thing. By the way, forgot to mention, important news. The administration, the White House, has announced that they're going to extend the deadline for signing up for recognizing the problems with the website and not wanting people to get caught, wanting to buy health insurance but can't get through the technology. The White House has extended the deadline for 6 weeks. You won't have to pay. You have 6 more weeks to sign up before you have to pay a penalty. That takes the deadline through March 31, 2014. Joe is calling from Detroit, Michigan. Hey, Joe, good morning.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, how's it going?
Pretty good. I wanted to give you a success story as far as
Please, yes.
I'm from Michigan, so, we're one of those states you had to wait a while. I had to work a while to get in. But I did get in. I got signed up I didn't buy yet because I'm still comparing.
Uh-huh.
But
But you were able to shop around, right?
Yes, I was able to shop around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my husband and I were paying a really crappy policy because we have pre-existing, and it was $22,000 a year we were paying.
Whoa.
Now we're going to be, for a similar, probably better policy, it's going to be about $6,000 a year. And because we're getting our income subsidy, it's going to be $4,000.
With the subsidy, $4,000? Wow.
Yep.
Well, why the hell haven't you bought it yet?
Well,
you better
because we hadn't decided if we wanted to go silver or bronze yet.
Oh, I see.
That's the silver plan, and we'll probably go with it. But
well, Joe, it sounds like you ought to go with that. It's like airline tickets. If I were you, I would buy it now because the next time you check in, the price may have gone up. That's the way it works with the airlines. I'm glad to hear that story, and there are more and more stories like that. And as they get it fixed, there'll be even more stories. Let me hear yours. And how long do you think it's going to take to fix it? 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, thanks so much for watching us here on Free Speech TV and on TawkrTV. Earlier, we had a good friend from Minnesota, Congressman Keith Ellison, in studio with us, and we asked him that now that the recent government shutdown is over and we have this little hiatus before we have to debate another government shutdown, what happens next? Is it possible to get anything done in this Congress? Here's what Congressman Keith Ellison had to tell us. With this looming, another fight over the government shutdown on January 15, another looming fight over the debt ceiling on February 7, is it going to be possible to get anything else done? And what about immigration reform?
Well, immigration reform is a top flight issue for me and also the Progressive Caucus. We, several of us, demonstrated our commitment.
You got arrested on the mall, right?
We got arrested.
You and John Lewis.
Me and John Lewis and Gutierrez and Grijalva and Jan Schakowsky.
Yep.
I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. Oh, and Charlie Rangel.
Oh, Charlie.
Oh,
I
Charlie.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Charlie was our jailhouse lawyer. He's so funny. And also Joe Crowley.
Oh, really?
Big Joe. It was tough because we were in the back of that little van, that they put you in, And Joe, who's about 6'5", this is one of those days I said, I'm glad I'm short, man, because it was rough in the back of that thing. But the thing is, when I went back home, people told me, they said, look, you're right. We need to keep the pressure on for an immigration reform.
Amen.
And you know what? When the U.S. Chamber and the AFL-CIO can come together around an issue, that's a big deal. And I don't think we should squander this opportunity. And let's face it, 11 million people living in the shadows, hoping that they don't get a knock on the door from ICE, is not good for this country. You can't deport 11 million people, even though we're deporting people at a record rate nowadays. And so the best thing to do is give folks a status. They're here anyway. And an undocumented worker is an exploited worker.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can put a floor on the wage rate, that would mean that everybody's wages would rise. But we just got to make sure that of those 11 million, that they have somebody to complain to about wage theft, about abuses on the job, about mistreatment. Now they can't because they're out of status. But if they were in status, they would have rights like other workers. We should fix this problem. We should fix it now. High-tech business, they need immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Ag folks need immigration. Families need immigration. Dreamers need immigration reform. So, I can tell you, my district is ready. And in every other district in this country is ready too. It's just we got some people who are still waving the flag of nativism, and quite frankly, and it's too bad. But persistence is going to win the day.
And people are waving the flag. We got all these budget stuff. We got all these battles,
right.
and as an excuse for not doing anything else. We can't let that happen. I know you won't let that happen. Congressman
Can
Keith
I say
Ellison.
one last thing?
Go for it.
The key here to this whole conference battle that's supposed to do back on December 15th is to put a pro-job agenda in place. We got to get jobs in there. That is how we grow the economy. That is how we pay down the debt. And by the way, the deficit is at a record low. They can't use that excuse anymore. So thank you so much for having me, and I'd love to come back.
Let's get back on jobs. That's what John Boehner said. That's what it was going to be all about. What do you got?
Yeah. What happened to that?
What? Congressman Keith Ellison. Thank you, man.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Hey, they start early down at the White House. We'll jump down there in the next segment and talk to David Jackson, who covers the White House for USA Today. On the latest, President Obama, his activities today, and he's going up to New York tomorrow. We'll find out what that's all about. Peter, you got some comments? Before we go back to your phones, we're talking about the health exchanges, the problems encountered, and the attempts by the administration to put everybody at rest, and fix the problems. Peter.
Remember, one great way to stay in touch with the show is to follow us on Twitter at BP Show, You can join in there. You can comment all throughout the program. Nancy Counter weighing in says California and Nevada are running smoothly. ACA websites should be run within states. It's bad for those in states that opted out. So that is a good point. I've actually been on the Maryland website today, this morning, and it's just humming. I mean, cruising right through.
Really?
No real delays, no problem. I mean, there's a lot of information to go through, obviously, but there have been no real website hiccups. So, and in Kentucky, we had the audio earlier of the governor who says that it's working very well.
Actually, we didn't. We're going to play.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Good point. Another comment there.
Another quick comment. Catherine says, "Okay, Bill, time to present the successful purchase and stop your endless railing about the website failings."
I want it to work. Right? I'm not one of saying that we got to get rid of Obamacare. I love this program. Look, should have had a public plan option. Boom, boom, boom. That's water under the bridge. I want it to work, and I want it to be successful. That's why I don't want to hear any whining. Just fix the damn thing. You mentioned the state, and remember, the federal exchange is for the 36 states where the governors have refused to set up their own program. California is a good success story. The biggest success story in the country, surprisingly enough, is Kentucky. And Congressman John Yarmouth, before October 1, before the exchanges kicked in, he said, you watch, Kentucky's going to be the model for the nation. He was right. Here's Governor Steve Beshears yesterday talking about how things are humming in Kentucky.
We hit the ground running on October 1. I think everybody in the country now feels like that the Kentucky Healthcare Exchange, the Connect as we call it, is sort of the gold standard because it's working. We are signing up people at roughly 1,000 a day. It's a great rate and a great success so far. It was an easy decision for me, both from a moral standpoint, because we've got 640,000 uninsured Kentuckians, and I want to make sure that every single Kentuckian has access to affordable health care.
He's getting it done.
Isn't that nice to hear, though?
Yeah.
A voice like that saying it's the moral thing for us to do.
It's the right thing to do, and we're doing it, and they're doing it the right way, and maybe they ought to bring whoever designed that Kentucky plan up here. I bet they didn't have some damn Canadian firm doing their work for them. Out in Madison, Wisconsin. Hey, good morning, Tim. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Hey, what's going on?
I tried 3 times. The third time was a charm. And
really?
Like the last caller, I haven't purchased yet. But my issue was I got a different quote than when I actually called the company that I was looking at. When I called them up and tried to get a quote, I found that I was actually quoted lower on the website than what the company quoted me.
No kidding. Did you qualify? Do you qualify for a subsidy?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I wish I did, but still, it's still going to be cheaper for me to go this route than through the private that I'm paying now. The other thing I was thinking of...
Let me ask you, Tim, before you move on. So have you had health insurance before?
Yes, I have, but I pay for it out of pocket.
Got it. All right. Mm-hmm.
So I work construction, and so I pay a little bit more just because of my career choice.
Yeah. All right, you started to make another point.
The other point I was going to make is that I recall when we started e-filing for our taxes, the first year was a mess. And it wasn't up and running right away. And now look at it. 90% of us Americans file our taxes electronically.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's a model, I mean, it might not work at first, but they'll get it working.
Yeah.
And that's my hope.
Yep. They will get it working. They will. And people are not going to suffer, meaning they're not going to end up in jail or they're not going to end up with a big fine because the website didn't work. It's just an embarrassing moment we got to get through, and I want them to get the damn thing fixed. If I were President Obama, I think I'd be standing in that room looking over their shoulders.
How we doing?
Say,
what's the latest?
Hey,
how's the progress?
Let me tell you something. This has got my name on it. It's called Obamacare, right?
Yeah.
Get it done. Sam is up in Rochester, New York. Hello, Sam.
Hey, how you doing, Bill?
I'm good.
Hey, here in New York State, our healthcare exchange is working beautifully, and it's easy to navigate. According to the morning newspaper today, we have 174,000 that have applied. 37,000 are fully enrolled. Another 23,000 discovered that they were eligible for Medicare, and we have another 1.1 million hoping to enroll in the Medicare.
Wow.
And the insurance rates are expected to fall by 53% compared with what they would have received on the open market. So we're doing great, and they expect to sign another 1.5 million over the next 3 years.
Now, this is the New York plan, right?
Yeah, it's just working great.
You know what is it is interesting, Sam, in New York, we mentioned California. Tim was giving us his example of Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
We just heard from the governor of Kentucky. Isn't it interesting that where the states have taken the lead, right, to get their own plan, they all seem to be working so far as we know. I haven't heard any stories about state plans. Have you, Peter?
No.
About state plans that have crashed.
No
it's
problem.
just the federal website that did, which is all the more embarrassing, right? Yeah. Hey, Sam, so you haven't bought yet, right?
No, I don't need it because I'm covered by my employer. But I just wanted to tell the teabaggers to kiss my ass because it's working great.
Hey, Sam, I tell them to kiss my ass every day. So welcome aboard. All right.
Alrighty. Thanks, Sam.
Good to hear from here with this message to you teabaggers.
Yeah.
Those of you who may have tuned in.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, we love you, but you're crazy as hell. Jim is out on the West Coast. Everett, Washington. Hey, Jim, good morning.
Yeah, hi.
By the way, Jim McDermott from Washington State told us that they were putting together a good plan for Washington State. What do you hear?
Oh, it's just fine. About 10 years ago, I retired, and I went through this whole insurance process. I discovered that the State Insurance Commission here in Washington is excellent, and it takes a long time to pick a plan. So, 2 days ago, I just hopped on the White House site, and I entered my zip code and my name and a few things. Bang, I was over here in Washington State. I went through the routine, put in my information, all this kind of stuff. It just worked perfectly smooth. I wound up with 35 different advisors that I could ask locally for help.
Whoa.
I wound up with 35 brokers that I could ask, that I could buy it through for help. I wound up with I don't remember how many plans were available, medical and dental, and it was just perfectly smooth. There was a 14-minute video that explained how to go through the website, and so basically I got set up with all the information. Now I've got 6 more months to make a decision. I'm not going to just buy a plan immediately.
Yeah.
I've got a plan that works, but I'm perfectly set up to go ahead and go through this analysis in a very orderly way.
And you're going to make an informed, intelligent, and economical decision, right?
Absolutely. It's all there, ready for me. And I've got, 6 months, 5 months?
Well, you got, let's say another 5 months. It's been almost a month, right? So
I may stay with my existing plan. I may find a better plan. And it's absolutely working smooth.
Yeah, great. You know what? It's great to hear stories like that. I'm impressed, and I particularly am impressed that despite the problems, these people have stuck to it and they've been able to soldier through. So maybe it's not as bad as we hear, but look, it's not great. Too many people are having problems, and again, November 1, get it fixed by November 1. The first month, we can tolerate that, and then it'll be smooth sailing from then on. Big doings at the White House these days, including the president having to apologize to France earlier in the week and to Germany yesterday for spying on them. David Jackson at USA Today at the White House for USA Today will tell us all about it next.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Thank you. And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
13 minutes now before the top of the hour on a Thursday morning. They start early down at the White House. And, everybody at the White House has been pulling a double duty lately because during the government shutdown, at any rate, people had to just pitch in, and help out. I mean, I showed up there for the briefing one day, and there's David Jackson out there cutting the front lawn.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why it looks so bad.
Hey, David, how you doing?
Fine, sir. How are you?
David Jackson, of course, covers the White House for USA Today. Interesting days at the White House. And there was so much talk about the health exchanges yesterday, David, but a little bit of flap over NSA and the latest foreign leader not to be happy with our spying efforts, right?
It's like a country a day these days, isn't it?
Yeah. We had Brazil,
Right.
They canceled that trip over it. France, earlier in the week, was a little upset about NSA spying. And now Angela Merkel.
In Germany, yes. And in this case, apparently her cell phone and maybe even her personal cell phone may have been tapped into by the NSA. So that's got quite a few people in Germany riled up. This came up earlier in the year, in the middle of her election campaign, right as the Snowden stuff was breaking. There was some allegations about U.S. surveillance in Germany, and it surfaced in that election campaign. So Merkel complained about it then, and
what is tell us about
now she's doubling down. Now there's real evidence that she herself has been targeted.
Yeah, tell us about yesterday's conversation.
Yes, apparently, unbeknownst to us, but it was reported in the German media. Merkel made an emergency phone call to President Obama, got him on the phone right away to demand it. It all started when Der Spiegel, the well-regarded German magazine, published a story based on Snowden documents saying that Merkel's cell phone had been, there's evidence that Merkel's cell phone had been tapped by the NSA, so Merkel immediately demanded a phone conversation with Obama and got it. And as usual in these kind of conversations, there are two different versions.
Right.
The Obama version is that he denies spying on the chancellor's communications, in present tense, mind you, because we're not monitoring the chancellor's communications, and we would not do so in the future. It doesn't say anything about the past. I don't think the Germans are convinced, because just about an hour ago, Germany summoned our ambassador for a meeting in Berlin, so apparently they're not quite satisfied. They seem to think that the story's true.
Our ambassador, who happens to be one of my best friends, John Emerson, who is there.
My! Well, he's going to have a long day, isn't he?
Yeah, no. I was at his going away party, and
wow.
And this is a kind of a rude welcome to Germany, I guess. But by the way, earlier in the week, again, the French government called in our ambassador to France, Charles Rifkin, for the same thing, and said, stop spying on our government officials as well. I just wonder how long, every time this comes up, the White House has been very defensive and very supportive of the NSA. At some point, they may have to change their tune.
I don't know how they're going to do it, because, I mean, let's face it, we're all adults here, and I think countries spy on other countries.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'd be interested in the case of Germany. I think we'd be very interested to know their position as soon as we could about things about the European financial situation, what they might do about Greece, this, that, and the other. There's a lot of things we'd like to know what the Germans are up to, and vice versa. I'm sure there's a lot of things we're doing the Germans would like to know about, and I'd be surprised if there aren't German spies in Washington, D.C., but when it becomes public like that, leaders have to respond, and as I noted, in Germany in particular, there's a large segment of the country that's very concerned about privacy issues. There used to be East Germany where privacy wasn't regarded at all.
Right.
So they're very sensitive about that, and it's something Merkel has to respond to as a publicly elected leader. And you're probably right. I'm sure this won't be the last country where this issue is raised, because there's an awful lot of documentation floating out there about some of our surveillance activity.
Just quickly, I had a chance earlier in the week to talk to, a couple of days ago, Richard Clark. Remember him? The cybersecurity and national security terrorism expert, was in the George H.W. Bush White House, the Clinton White House. And I said, so what do you think about this latest flap with NSA? This was about France before Angela Merkel, a couple of days ago. And he just shrugged and he said, hey, we spy on everybody.
Yeah.
He said, what's new about this? Now, I got to ask you about the health exchange. There's a lot of talk about it. Do you think the administration is working its way out of this problem, David, or still in denial?
I think so. Well, they're hoping his hope that they're working his way out of it, but it's a lot of technical aspects that I certainly don't understand. I don't think a lot of the people I talk to understand either. They're just hoping that a lot of tech-savvy people can come in and help rescue their website, which would make things a lot easier. There's also concern about how many people are signing up, because I don't think the numbers are great.
No, and I think legitimately Carney has made the point that if you look at the Massachusetts example, and I saw a story yesterday, I quoted earlier from the New Republic, people wait until the last minute to buy. They may shop, but they don't buy. But the tech surge, how long do you think they've got to get this fixed before it's a real problem?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think there's any way to tell, because I noticed the news is already kind of running out. People are desperate for stories now. Here we are at a weekend. I think, I'll basically say a month. I think that the real next turning point will be when they announce in mid-November how many people have actually signed up for the exchanges. I think that'll be a very key statistic and a key event.
Daily briefings today, right?
Right. They're going to start daily briefings updating on how the tech surge is going. There's also a hearing up on Capitol Hill.
Mm-hmm. These daily briefings are being conducted by HHS or something?
Right.
I did not get a notice of a daily briefing, which is one of the reasons I'm asking. So it's not at the White House, right?
No, I think it's just for people who are specialists in healthcare coverage. So I haven't gotten any kind of notice either.
Not that we need another briefing we have to go to, right?
No, especially on something like this. I mean, it was a very complicated system to start with, and now when you add all the computer problems, it's even more complicated. There are stories that NBC and the Washington Post had a story today that claims that the administration is pushing back.
Yep.
I don't think that's exactly true. I think the administration's always said that at any point in the open enrollment, you can sign up, and you won't be even if you wait till the last day, you won't be subject to any kind of a penalty. But that gets back to what I was saying. I think people are desperate for stories, which I think serves the administration well. I mean, basically, the website has problems. End of story. They have to decide now whether they can. We have to find out whether they can improve the computer and therefore make it easier for people to sign up, and then we'll know if they've worked their way out.
Got to run. I'll see you at noon at the White House.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
David Jackson, USA Today.
This is the Bill Press Show.
single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 None of us would want to be told we can't marry the person we love. As Americans, we believe in freedom. That's what I fought for as a Marine, and that's what we believe in as Republicans. Freedom means freedom for everyone. I didn't used to understand the importance of same-sex marriage, but after learning my brother was gay, I wanted the same rights for him. He was the best man at my wedding, and I want to be the best man at his. It's only fair that Calvin should have the freedom to marry the person he loves, too.
It's time for marriage.
Here we go. Medea Benjamin here from Code Pink to talk about drones in the next hour. Peter.
Earlier this week, Bill, we had the big announcement from Apple that they were going to have a new iPad.
Yeah.
Yesterday was the 12th birthday of the iPod, which is an interesting thing to note. They didn't unveil any kind of new iPod, and many people are saying they're not going to. So the iPod is done. It's all iPads, iPhones now. No more iPod.
Didn't last very long.
12 years is a hell of a run.
All right.
Yes.
Stay with us for the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, good morning, friends and neighbors. What do you say? It's a Thursday, October 24. In fact, good to see you today. And welcome to the Bill Press Show here from our nation's capital and our studio on Capitol Hill to bring you up to date on the latest. Not much happening on the Hill today because most members of Congress are going to be in Florida for the funeral of former Congressman Bill Young, who died a few days ago, the oldest member of Congress and the longest-serving member of the Congress. But here in Washington, it is all about the health exchanges, and we still hear the lame excuses from the administration that all the problems were caused by so many people going onto the website, so much traffic they hadn't anticipated. And the latest is, well, you know, a lot of Americans just aren't tech savvy. Yeah, well, even tech savvy people can't work their way through this website. That's the problem. No doubt the problem will be fixed. The only question now is how long. We've got the best and brightest coming in to fix it. We got the technical surge underway, but of course it's too bad these problems. They should not have happened in the first place. In other news, on drones, a Human Rights Watch earlier this week said that drones could be a war crime. Washington Post reported that, in fact, surprise, surprise, the United States and Pakistan have had a secret deal to allow drone strikes in Pakistan all along. Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, made an angry phone call yesterday to President Obama to say, stop spying on my cell phone. Apparently, NSA was listening in on her conversations. And as we learned last night, the Red Sox are in it for business. They're in it to win it. Are they ever? Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. Here we go with the Bill Press Show.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Angela Merkel calls President Obama and says, "Stop tapping my phone, my cell phone." She wasn't happy. Good morning, everybody. What do you say? It is great to see you today on this Thursday, October 24. It's the Bill Press Show coming to you live from our nation's capital and our studio on Capitol Hill, right in the heart of the action here, Washington, D.C. Good to see you today. Look forward to hearing from you by phone at 866-55-PRESS or on Twitter at BP Show or on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. We got lots to talk about. I want to hear from you what it all means to you and to your family. And the team here is assembled, ready to hear from you and bring you the best, the latest. Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning. Hello, guys.
Hey, hey, hey. Good morning.
With Alicia Cruz there. She's waiting for your phone calls. Alicia and Cyprian Bolding has got us looking good because we are a radio show, most of all, here, first and foremost, on your local progressive talk radio station. Good morning, good morning. But also seen on TV, on Free Speech TV, all across this great land of ours, on the Direct TV network. And, by the way, we are also video streamed. So another third way to see us would go check your computer. Just go to youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKRTV. Drones are in the news a lot today. They've been coming up to the White House. Big report on the Human Rights Watch. Right, that's the name of the group. And in studio with us to talk about this subject, a woman who has written a book, actually, about drones. Medea Benjamin is one of the co-founders of Code Pink. You hear a lot about them, and she's all dressed in pink this morning. Good morning, Medea. Nice to see you.
Good morning. Nice to be
There's
in the studio with you.
There's always something pink about your outfit,
yes,
right?
but I must say your purple is quite sweet.
I just wanted to be matching this morning here, right? Well, your book came out, was it last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I did a revision of it. A new edition came out in April.
Oh, really? Yeah. You know what I want to know, Medea, because I see you in the news so much, and Code Pink. How many times have you been arrested?
I don't know, Bill.
What?
Because it started a long time ago. I mean, I've been doing this for many, many years and on many different issues, and over the years they kind of rack up.
Yeah. John Lewis somebody was keeping count of how many times he'd been arrested. I just wondered if you had
it was John
too.
Lewis. I think it was 45 times he's been arrested.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, I just
Do you think you beat
count.
Do you think you beat his record?
Probably he beat me, I would think.
And also, how do you get into these hearings? I mean, because people, you must
trade secrets, Bill.
But you must be well known on Capitol Hill by now.
I got into your studio as you walk in.
I mean, I've seen you get thrown out of so many hearings, always getting the last word in, by the way, as you're dragged out the door. And I just wonder why they recognize you by now and just say, no, come on, we're not going to do this again. No?
The hearings are public. As long as you get there early and you get online, you get a seat. And they can try to make sure you get the worst seat in the House at the back of the room. And they can be, and they'll tell you, sometimes, most of the time, I go to the hearings and I sit there and listen. But you don't hear about those.
That's right. Like the airplane that doesn't crash, right? All right, Medea Benjamin, Code Pink, to talk about drones and a big story about drones this morning in Pakistan. We'll get right into it and take your calls. But first, Dan.
This is the
the
full
big stories of the
court
day.
press.
Other headlines making news in sports. The Boston Red Sox came out swinging in Game 1 of the World Series last night. The St. Louis Cardinals looked horrible, for lack of a better term. The Sox won 8-1, which started with a 3-run home run in the first inning. Or 3-run double, rather. The Cardinals manager, Mike Matheny, said, quote, "We got a wake-up call. That's not the kind of team we've been all season." He went on to say his players were frustrated and embarrassed. Maybe the most embarrassing play was a second-inning pop fly that landed between the pitcher and the catcher, with both of them doing nothing but staring at it.
How many games do they play in Boston before they move to?
Tonight's one more, and then games 3 and 4 are in St. Louis.
I mean, my prediction was that the Cardinals win in 6. If the Red Sox win tonight, I mean, that's serious. They got serious momentum.
I have the Red Sox in 5.
Red Sox in 5. Okay.
2 of the Ohio kidnapping.
Like that.
I don't know. I just can't believe you guys. Do you have any money on this?
No.
Oh,
We went around and we took estimates the other day.
Gentlemen's bets, if you will.
Hey, I'm no gentleman.
Well, we know that. 2 of the Ohio kidnapping survivors that were locked up for 10 years have signed a book deal. The New York Post reports Amanda Berry and Gina DeJesus are collaborating with Pulitzer Prize-winning Washington Post reporters Mary Jordan and Kevin Sullivan to tell their story.
Hey, Elizabeth Smart just came out with her book, so you can see that one coming.
And finally, a craft beer brewer in Chicago is stepping up to do something about the nation's unemployed veterans problem. Paul Jenkins is the founder and CEO of the Veterans Beer Company, and he's only hiring vets for his new operation. From brewers to truck drivers to salespeople to company executives, 100% veteran staffed. They're releasing their first 2 beers, an amber lager and a blonde ale, on November 11th, which is Veterans Day.
Well, I say let's get them in studio here and sample these beers.
Absolutely. Drink up.
All right. So Medea Benjamin, the human rights group, Human Rights Watch, came out this week saying, calling on the United States to investigate the number of civilians killed and wounded by CIA drone strikes in Pakistan, and calling drone strikes, suggesting that they may be war crimes. Are they right?
Well, first it was Amnesty that did the report on Pakistan, and Human Rights Watch did one on Yemen. But they came out simultaneously, which was a brilliant idea. But it also comes on the heels of 2 reports that came out at the United Nations, one that's going to be discussed tomorrow at the UN. Also next week is going to be the release of a film that Brave New Films has done on drone victims with a lot of firsthand accounts. That's Robert Greenwald's group. Mm-hmm. And then the first time ever, there will be drone victims actually coming to the United States for a briefing in Congress on Tuesday with Alan Grayson. And so it's drones, drones, drones. And then there is the front page of the Post today talking about how the Pakistani government is collaborating with the U.S. on this. At the same time, Nawaz Sharif is here talking to Obama about the need to stop the drones. And all of this is a lead up to our summit that's happening November 16th and 17th here in Washington, D.C.
I can't keep up with all this news about drones.
Hundreds of people coming together to talk about drones and what to do about it. So
when is this? November 16th?
16th and 17th at the Georgetown Law School.
Here in Washington. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Which is sponsored by Code Pink? Or?
Code Pink, The Nation Magazine, Center for Constitutional Rights, Institute for Policy Studies, and the National Lawyers Guild. And we will have people from not only Pakistan and Yemen and Afghanistan, but also from Europe who are working on these issues with their own governments and people all over the country.
So where to start? So yesterday... the Prime Minister, it was as a White House report, we were told, right, that one of the issues that came up in a meeting with the President and the Prime Minister of Pakistan was the issue of drones, and the Prime Minister said, we want the drone strikes in Pakistan stopped. Then the Washington Post reports this morning that the United States has had a secret deal with the government of Pakistan where we have told them about these drone strikes, basically kept them informed and showed them photographs of before and after and all this stuff. So is the government of Pakistan not playing straight here?
Well, it's been known since the WikiLeaks documents that there has been collaboration back in the days of Musharraf with this. And when our delegation went to Pakistan, we met with the spokesperson for the army and then met a number of people high up in the military who admitted that they do get to see the strikes afterwards. They didn't admit that they would be collaborating beforehand as well. And the period that the Post is talking about is between 2007 and 2011, which is before Nawaz Sharif's came into power. Yet, on the other hand, it's been pretty well known that the Pakistani government is caught between people who are totally against this. Polls show that the vast majority of Pakistanis are opposed to U.S. drone strikes. On the other hand, one, they want to get rid of some of these people who are being targeted, and two, they get over $1 billion a year from the United States government, and so what can they do? But there are many Pakistanis, including the High Court in Peshawar, where this came up before the court, that said that if the Pakistani government can't get the U.S. to stop the drone strikes, it should shoot them down.
Whoa. Now, what's the present status? You don't hear so much about drone strikes anymore. Are we doing as many as we were last year?
No, the drone strikes have gone down, and in good part because, well, the U.S. government will say, oh, we've killed most of the people we want to kill, which is not true, because every time you kill one, there's another one that will take their place. And they move from focusing on Pakistan to Yemen. But the truth is that there is so much opposition, and the opposition is coming from the countries where we're using the drones, but it's also coming from here in the United States, and it's coming from things like the reports that came up at the UN, and the U.S. has known that these investigations have been going on. But, Bill, I must say we at Code Pink have been part of this in building a movement across the United States to oppose these drones, and that is one of the reasons, according to U.S. officials who've been quoted on this, is that they've decided to do less of these drone strikes. They've tried to be more careful about who's being targeted, how many civilians are being killed. But one, they haven't given up on the program. Two, they're building bases all around the world for these drones, so it doesn't look like they've ended the whole idea of using them. And three, they haven't come clean about what they've been doing, who they've been killing, and let's see some information about this, and let's give compensation to the people who have been killed. Well,
this week at the White House, the issue did come up, and we heard again what we've heard before from Jay Carney about the use of these strikes in direct response to the Amnesty International and the Human Rights Watch reports. Here's Jay Carney.
U.S. counterterrorism operations are precise, they are lawful, and they are effective. And the United States does not take lethal strikes when we or our partners have the ability to capture individual terrorists.
Precise, lawful, and effective. Are they?
They're not precise because they have killed a lot of innocent people and missed their targets many times. They're not lawful. We can hear from the United Nations itself looking at international law saying you just can't go in and violate another country's sovereignty and kill people who are not about to do you harm. That's the whole idea of an imminent threat. It has to be there's nothing else you can do but kill these people because they're going to do so much harm to you. We're killing people who maybe someday, who knows, want to do us harm. And what was the last one I said?
Effective.
Effective. Well, if you think that we have been doing this now since 2004, we've been using these drone strikes, and there is still Al-Qaeda out there, in fact, spreading from one place to another, then it hasn't been effective. It's maybe just moved them from one place to another, but it hasn't ended them.
Quickly, and then we have to take a break. But you have also you mentioned victims. They're not so precise. There have been a lot of civilians as victims of these. Do these civilians get any relief from the United States? Get any compensation from the United States? Do we do anything about them?
No, we don't even acknowledge that we have harmed them. But amazingly, I have recently discovered there is a pot of money that's supposed to go to help Pakistani victims, and it hasn't gotten to them. So this is something we want to work on now, which is to say,
where's the money go?
The money goes to other victims of conflict in Pakistan in other parts, not in Waziristan, where we are using the drones.
Yeah. So it goes to the government of Pakistan, and they give it to other people?
They give it to people who I think are probably very needy and worthy of help, but it's not the intended recipients who are supposed to be the people harmed by our policies. They deserve to be able to rebuild their homes, to get medical help, and to help them rebuild their lives, the ones who weren't killed.
Medea Benjamin is with us from Code Pink. CodePinkAlert.com is the best website, right?
.org. Or just plain old CodePink.org.
Okay, CodePink.org. CodePink.org. Your questions, your comments. This whole issue of drones is getting more and more attention. The White House always very defensive about it, but more and more organizations saying, hey, this is not the right thing to do. We should not be doing this. 866-55-PRESS, our toll-free number. We'll continue our conversation with Medea Benjamin when we come back.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Did you see the world differently? Did you celebrate the victory?
So today, I state clearly and with conviction America's commitment to seek the peace and security of a world without nuclear weapons.
Did you stand up against our greatest threat? Change the world.
is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, at 25 minutes after the hour, Edward Isaac DeVere from Politico will be in studio with us in the next half hour. Right now, we're talking with Medea Benjamin, co-founder of Code Pink. We first met when she was head of Global Exchange. Did a great trip to Cuba together back in the days. Her book about, we're talking drones, her book about is called Drone Warfare, Killing by Remote Control, still available on Amazon, of course. Medea, let's say hello to Donald, who's calling from Aurora, Illinois. Hey, Donald, what do you say?
Yes, hi, Bill. You know what I'd like to know? Who in our government really is responsible? Is it our president? Is it Hagel? Is it Kerry that's pushing this stuff here? I mean, this is ridiculous. We're becoming the biggest threat to world peace of any nation on this planet. And not only that, we're giving them $1 billion, $1 billion to Pakistan, $2 billion, from what I understand, a week to Afghanistan. They want to cut out Social Security and everything else. What is really behind all of this? Why do we have to do this?
Good questions, Donald. I'll take your responses on the air, Medea. So who is, that's a good question. Who is calling the shots, I guess, horrible phrase, on drones?
President Obama. He is very involved in this. In fact, early on in his presidency, he started doing these weekly meetings called Terror Tuesdays, where he'd bring together his advisors and set up the kill list. And the drones strikes have just shot up under his administration. And there was a piece in the New York Times.
Even more strikes than under George W. Bush.
Way more strikes. I mean, there were maybe 48 strikes the entire time under George Bush, and there have been hundreds and hundreds of strikes under Obama. And one of the pieces that came out in the New York Times talked about how he felt comfortable with this policy and wanted to show him as a tough guy. This was before his second election. And I think he's still under the illusion that the American people want this president who feels comfortable about just wiping out potential terrorists, where you could tell from your caller's voice, and it reflects the American people, sick and tired of being caught up in this perpetual war and want to just get out of it and rebuild this country.
And Congress doesn't do anything about it, right?
Congress is really missing in action throughout this whole thing. It is, you think back to the days of the church hearings when the CIA had been out of control and Congress came in and said, we got to do something about it. Not now. Congress basically gives a A-OK to whatever the administration wants to do on this.
Well, Code Pink is on their case. Absolutely. CodePink.org, right? CodePink.org. And Medea Benjamin. You see her in the news, you see her here on the show, and we appreciate all the great work you're doing, and thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you. Hope you'll join us at the Drone Summit, Bill.
The Drone Summit, November 16. Check out CodePink.org. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, friends, thanks so much for watching us here on Free Speech TV and on TawkrTV. Earlier, we had a good friend from Minnesota, Congressman Keith Ellison, in studio with us, and we asked him that now that the recent government shutdown is over and we have this little hiatus before we have to debate another government shutdown, what happens next? Is it possible to get anything done in this Congress? Here's what Congressman Keith Ellison had to tell us. With this looming, another fight over the government shutdown on January 15, another looming fight over the debt ceiling on February 7, is it going to be possible to get anything else done? And what about immigration reform?
Well, immigration reform is a top flight issue for me and also the Progressive Caucus. We, several of us, demonstrated our commitment.
You got arrested on the mall, right?
We got arrested.
You and John Lewis.
Me and John Lewis and Gutierrez and Grijalva and Jan Schakowsky.
Yep.
I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. Oh, and Charlie Rangel.
Oh, Charlie.
Oh,
I
Charlie.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Charlie was our jailhouse lawyer. He's so funny. And also Joe Crowley.
Oh, really?
Big Joe. It was tough because we were in the back of that little van, that they put you in, And Joe, who's about 6'5", this is one of those days I said, I'm glad I'm short, man, because it was rough in the back of that thing. But the thing is, when I went back home, people told me, they said, look, you're right. We need to keep the pressure on for an immigration reform.
Amen.
And you know what? When the U.S. Chamber and the AFL-CIO can come together around an issue, that's a big deal. And I don't think we should squander this opportunity. And let's face it, 11 million people living in the shadows, hoping that they don't get a knock on the door from ICE, is not good for this country. You can't deport 11 million people, even though we're deporting people at a record rate nowadays. And so the best thing to do is give folks a status. They're here anyway. And an undocumented worker is an exploited worker.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can put a floor on the wage rate, that would mean that everybody's wages would rise. But we just got to make sure that of those 11 million, that they have somebody to complain to about wage theft, about abuses on the job, about mistreatment. Now they can't because they're out of status. But if they were in status, they would have rights like other workers. We should fix this problem. We should fix it now. High-tech business, they need immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Ag folks need immigration. Families need immigration. Dreamers need immigration reform. So, I can tell you, my district is ready, and and every other district in this country is ready too. It's just we got some people who are still waving the flag of nativism, and quite frankly, and it's too bad. But persistence is going to win the day.
And people are waving the flag. Oh, we got all these budget stuff. We got all these battles,
right.
and as an excuse for not doing anything else. We can't let that happen. I know you won't let that happen. Congressman
Can
Keith
I say
Ellison.
one last thing?
What? Go for it.
The key here to this whole conference battle that's supposed to do back on December 15th is to put a pro-job agenda in place. We got to get jobs in there. That is how we grow the economy. That is how we pay down the debt. And by the way, the deficit is at a record low. They can't use that excuse anymore. So thank you so much for having me, and I'd love to come back.
Let's get back on jobs. That's what John Boehner said. That's what it was going to be all about. What do you got?
Yeah. What happened to that?
What? Congressman Keith Ellison. Thank you, man.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, now 33 minutes after the hour, rolling along here on the Bill Press Show on a Thursday morning, October 24. Coming to you live on your local progressive talk radio station. Coming to you live on Free Speech TV, both nationwide, of course. Free Speech TV, if you got a satellite, just check out the Dish Network or DirecTV. And coming to you live on the video stream at TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV. We are brought to you today by the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. We all live better because of the good work of the men and women of the Teamsters Union under President Jim Hoffa. Check out their website at teamster.org. We were, before the briefing yesterday at the White House, guessing about what percentage of the questions to Jay Carney yesterday would be on the health exchanges, the problems with it, and the attempts to fix it. And it was probably 8 out of 10 questions. A couple of others were slipped in there. Edward Isaac DeVere is the senior White House reporter for Politico, shares those duties with me at the White House, and joins us in studio this morning. Isaac, good to see you.
Good to be here.
Is the administration going to work its way out of this, or are they just going to have to, as some people suggested yesterday, trash the whole thing and start from scratch?
It's hard to see that happening, but they have a deep problem here that they need to fix, and that the president himself is clearly focused on at this point. The question is, and the White House doesn't have a great answer for this, why this tech surge, the amount of focus, all of the things that they're doing to fix the site now weren't being done 2 months ago.
Well, and why the best and the brightest weren't brought in to design the site rather than to fix it, correct? But there was a question raised. Peter, you were saying earlier, 5 million lines of They're talking maybe.
I saw one report that said there are many as 5 million lines of code that need to be completely rewritten on the website. I think the Post written that earlier this week.
So it seems to me if they can get it fixed in a month, by a month, November 1 or maybe in another week or so, then fine, things are going to move on. But if it's 5 million lines of code and there's a serious flaw in the design, this could be months.
This is a huge problem, and even if they do get it fixed in a month, they're never going to have another chance to make a first impression here, right? And that's the problem for a lot of people. There was some questions that people had about whether the law would work, whether the program would work, and it's true what the president says, that the website is not Obamacare. The website is one part of Obamacare. It's the portal to Obamacare, but having the website have as many problems as it had, for that to be the first impression that people get of this program, most people, that's never going to go away in their minds. And that those doubts that people have are accentuated by this, are exacerbated by this, and are there probably forever in at least some place in their brains.
And, probably the best thing that happened to the Obama administration as part of this is that for the first 2.5 weeks of the rollout of the health exchanges, the government was Republicans shut the government down, so those of us in the media were all focused on that.
I think that's right.
Huh?
That's exactly. And you imagine a situation, right, where the Republicans had decided not to shut down the government, but had waited for the people, for everybody to see how many problems there were with this website, and then tried to say we should delay Obamacare for a year. Right. You'd probably have had more people saying, hey, that's not such a bad idea, including some of these Democrats who just in the last couple of days have come out and said that they're really full of questions about what's going on, and suggesting that maybe there should be some kind of delay, whatever it would be.
Well, with all this talk about delay, the Washington Post reports this morning, and I haven't had a chance to check Politico, I'm sorry to say, yet this morning, so I don't know whether you're reporting the same thing, that the administration, we didn't hear this at the briefing yesterday, we heard the possibility, but the Post reports definitively the administration has said it's going to extend the deadline by 6 weeks. Is that what you hear? Is
that does seem to be where they're going to. They're understanding that there is a problem here that they need to address and give people some measure of relief to the idea that they're going to be penalized for something that they haven't been able to sign up for yet. You can't hold people responsible for getting into a program if your own way of getting them into that program is troubled, to say the least.
Now, the thing that is driving me crazy, and I say this as a supporter of the Affordable Care Act and as someone who wants it to work, wants it to survive, wants it to succeed, what bugs me are the lame excuses we keep hearing from the administration. So let's start with the first one was, there's just too much traffic. There are just too many people checking it out. That wasn't really the case, was it? Well, there were a lot of people checking it out, but
look, whenever there's a website that gets a lot of traffic to it all of a sudden, it does make the website function less well. That being said, it's strange that they didn't anticipate that for the first couple of weeks of the program, there would be a lot of people logging onto the site, including a lot of reporters and a lot of government officials and a lot of opponents of the program and who were trying to show that there were problems.
And we're just hoping that there'd be problems.
Right. Yeah. So why wasn't it equipped to deal with that? It's not that 319 million Americans were going to, all of them, sign up for Obamacare or even go on the website. But a couple million people should have been anticipated and should have been, you'd think, part of the planning to be able to handle that.
Yes. Now, the latest lame excuse we heard from the Secretary of HHS, Kathleen Sebelius, on CNN with Sanjay Gupta the other night, where basically she sort of said, I'm putting words in her mouth, and she would never put it this way, that, just Americans are just dumb. Here she is.
It is certainly a tool, and we think it can be an easy tool for people who are tech savvy and want to use a website. And we're determined that it be a lot easier than it is right now. What I know, though, is that lots of people, and people I talk to every day, are not tech savvy.
So just people are not tech savvy. So
I have a friend who who works in an internet startup who wrote me an email just about his own experience trying to log on, and he was having trouble with it.
Right. That's people who are tech savvy.
This is a guy who he is a 32-year-old lawyer who works in a tech startup, and he cannot figure out how to make the Obamacare website work. If that is true, then you see how there might be some problems with the website.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, so it's true that even people who are tech savvy, like your friend, can't figure it out. But it is true, I would admit, there are a lot of people around there who are not real at ease on the computers, right?
Sure.
Particularly some of these people who need to buy health insurance for the first time.
Sure.
Which is why the website should have been so easily designed.
You would think
that, right?
You would think, and it's not as if there aren't websites out there that are possible to be navigated by people who aren't computer science experts.
One of our big sponsors here is ProFlowers, right? You go to a ProFlowers site, man, you can whiz right through it and buy. They make it so easy because they want you to buy.
Right. Right.
Yeah, same thing with Amazon, same thing with Walmart. Now, but that leads me to your story the other day on Politico yesterday. Your headline is, Why Kathleen Sebelius is Safe.
Right.
I mean, with all this monumental screw-up, she's still safe.
You would think that the president might want to show that there was someone responsible for this who was in a senior position who was going to take that responsibility for all the problems that have come up. But the problem that the White House would have if they decided to put Sebelius or one of the other top officials at HHS out the door is that they'd have to go back and get a successor confirmed. And they are really not looking forward to what that would be. Number one, the people on Capitol Hill who are opposed to the law would use this as an opportunity to reopen and relitigate every single aspect of Obamacare, subpoena all the information that they could get about all the things that have happened, all the plans for what might happen, and just make it a long and torturous process. And then
they might even shut down the government. Oh no, I guess they'd never do that.
Not over Obamacare.
No, right.
But then there's even the question of whether they'd let somebody through after all of that. After a year of hearings or whatever, there's no guarantee that they would ever confirm someone. So is that the way that they'd want to go? It doesn't seem like it. And the argument that comes from the administration also is, well, there are all these problems, but isn't it better to have the people who are experts in this stuff there while we're fixing the problems? That argument has a little harder time working its way through people's minds. But the political argument here, the political reality that they'd face if there was an opening for HHS secretary or one of the other top spots is there.
How about the Canadian firm that was picked to design it? Why?
We're going to have a lot of those questions asked at the hearings today on the Hill, and it doesn't seem like that today's hearings will be the end of it. Obviously, Sebelius is headed to the Hill herself next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Do we know what this cost?
I don't think we do know what the full cost of this is, nor do we know what the cost of repairing it will be. And these are not, if we have a tech surge and all these things, this is not cheap.
Right. And Verizon at the front of the pack to try to help fix it. Edward Isaac DeVere, senior White House correspondent for Politico, been particularly focused on these health exchanges and the problems with the rollout. We'll love to hear from you, 866-55-PRESS. The last hour, there are a lot of people who called, by the way, to say, man, easy peasy. I've been on there. I was able to sign up, and I got a great deal. If you have a story like that, let us know here on The Bill Press Show.
This is The Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing down, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
Edward Isaac DeVere in studio with us from Politico, covers the White House for Politico, and we were talking about the rollout of the Health Exchange website, which, as President Obama points out correctly, is only one part of Obamacare, but it's the part that's getting most of the attention today because people are going there to shop around and experience a lot of problems. Peter?
We talk a lot about Ted Cruz, so let's take a break from talking about Ted Cruz, and let's talk about his wife, Heidi Cruz. She sat down and gave an interview to the New York Times. There were some interesting little nuggets that came out of them. One of them is, we know that...
I never heard about Heidi Cruz.
Heidi Nelson Cruz. She's a managing director for Goldman Sachs, and she confirmed that Ted Cruz is on her health care plan. So it's a very nice Goldman Sachs healthcare plan that he is a part of. So no government healthcare for him. She was also asked if she could see herself as First Lady.
Freeloader.
Yeah. She asked if she could see herself as First Lady, and she said, quote, I don't think I should answer that. So there you go. Heidi Cruz.
I think she was probably right not to answer that. Isaac, I mentioned a lot of callers earlier who were talking about their success at signing up. Not all of them have bought yet, but they've shopped around. They found out there are good plans available at a good price, and they're going to sign up. They just haven't done it yet, which is typical too, right? By the way.
Yep.
So all the demands of reporters to say, we want to know how many people signed up today. I mean, that's not unusual, right, if people wait until to buy.
Sure. It's unusual if nobody is buying. And you'd think at this point the administration might want to say, look at all these people who actually have bought. So there are going to be some percentage, naturally, of people who shop around and wait, and they're going to get closer to the deadline before they make a final decision. But there's nobody, it seems, or there's not a huge enough number, it seems, for the administration to come out and say, look at this.
Brag about
because
it,
this would be the time for the administration to hold up a huge success. The same way over the weekend they said 476,000 people have come close. But if they could say that there are this many enrolled, it would be a big deal for them.
All right, but I'll tell you who did say that, make that claim proudly yesterday. Steve Beshear is the governor of Kentucky. Here he is.
We hit the ground running on October 1. I think everybody in the country now feels like that the Kentucky Healthcare Exchange, the Connect as we call it, is sort of the gold standard because it's working. We are signing up people at roughly 1,000 a day. It's a great rate and a great success so far. It was an easy decision for me, both from a moral standpoint, because we've got 640,000 uninsured Kentuckians, and I want to make sure that every single Kentuckian has access to affordable health care.
So, all the callers that we had in the last hour who talked about their success were from state exchanges.
Yep.
California, Michigan, New York State, Kentucky. Why are the states able to do this when the feds couldn't?
It seems like they hired better people to put it together. I mean, there's
right?
really, I don't think it's that complicated of a question. The people who were involved in building the national website were not good at it. And that, whatever else you want to say, that seems to be an empirical truth at this point.
Isn't it stunning that the one significant accomplishment of the Obama administration, which is the Affordable Care Act, and worth bragging about, and it's going to survive, that there wasn't more focus to make sure that they got this one right.
It's very strange. And the president himself, from the way that the White House tells me about it and other people who are aware of it.
How involved was he in this?
He was getting regular briefings. He was, at some points, adjusting his schedule to drop in on more meetings and still not getting the information about what was going wrong. The question is why that was. And is it that the people who were briefing him were not giving him the information that they had? Or the problem may be even deeper, that the people briefing him didn't even have the information. And so it may not have been that they were lying to him, that they were actually underinformed or misinformed about what was going on.
How long do you think they've got to get this fixed?
Not a lot of time. And then the question legitimately is
that a week, 2 weeks?
It's probably a couple weeks. But what happens in a couple of weeks if the website does get fixed? Where does this argument go next? Does that just solve it? Hard to believe.
There'll be another argument against Obamacare, but the problem is that this one has some legitimacy for them. Yeah. Hey, great fun having you in the studio. I
Great to
come
be
back
here.
again anytime. From Politico. It's Politico.com, of course, and I'll come back and tell you what's on the president's schedule today.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, don't go away. Hour number 3 coming up here on the Bill Press Show. So what if you can't watch on Free Speech TV? You can watch on the video stream, of course, at TawkrTV, TAWKR-TV. That's youtube.com/TawkrTV. Danny Cantor from the Democratic Governors Association is going to talk to us about the big race in Virginia. And a man who worked on innovation and technology in the Obama White House will come here to tell us what's wrong with that health exchange website.
wish I was in school.
If only I had a math test today.
Or a book report to give.
I wish I was in school.
I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard.
I'll do extra homework. I'll skip recess.
I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
I really wish I was in school.
School ends, but free lunches for your kids don't have to. Find your local food bank at feedingamerica.org/summer meals for help. Together, we're feeding America.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right. Hey, coming up in the next hour, Danny Cantor, from the Democratic Governors Association here in studio with us. Big governor's races coming up in Virginia and New Jersey, of course. And then Clay Johnson, who was on the tech team in the Obama White House, will give us his take on the problems with the rollout. President Obama scheduled today, gets a daily briefing with the vice president this morning. And then he's going to be making some remarks at 10:30 in the East Room on immigration reform, calling on Congress to get busy and get that immigration reform passed. Then late this afternoon, bouncing over to the Jefferson Hotel for an event with the DNC's Women's Leadership Forum. Our regular White House briefing with Jay Carney at noon today at the White House, and I will be down there. And of course, you know there'll be a lot more talk and a lot more questions about drones and about the rollout with the health exchanges. Let's talk Democratic politics when we come back.
This is the Bill Press Show. broadcasting around the nation on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany, tells President Obama, keep your cotton-picking hands off my cell phone. Stop spying on my calls or listening in. President Obama says, who, me? Good morning, everybody. What do you say? She wasn't happy. It is Thursday, October 24, and here we go on the Bill Press Show to bring you up to date on the latest news from our nation's capital, from around the country and around the globe. Coming to you live on your local progressive talk radio station, anywhere in this great land of ours, and this hour only, not this hour only, but also coming to you video stream this hour on TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKRTV, and here in our nation's capital. We got the team here assembled, Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning.
Hey.
Good morning.
With Alicia Cruz on the phones. Cyprian Bolding has the video cam covered so that we can come to you on the video stream. And joining us in studio to talk Democratic politics, particularly electoral politics at the governor's level, Danny Cantor is with the Democratic Governors Association Communications Director. Danny, nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back in. Do you realize on the video stream, you are now being seen in 133 different countries?
Well, I feel sorry for those 133 countries.
Isn't that amazing? See, we are. I don't know whether we told you that this is
no, you did not.
International,
worldwide.
Yeah, the global Bill Press Show. And before we get to the governor's level, still a lot of talk here, most of the buzz about problems with the rollout of the website and the health exchanges, and they brought in Verizon to help fix it out. Jay Leno had a little fun with that last night. Why Verizon?
Here's the latest on Obamacare, the website. The Obama administration has now asked Verizon to help fix the Obamacare website. Now, Verizon wasn't the president's first choice. He initially reached out to T-Mobile, but they dropped the call. So then he went to Verizon after.
T-Mobile, yeah, but I don't know. I hope Verizon can fix it. I think they should have. I think they should have contracted the whole thing out to Amazon to start with.
Well, look, what you've seen is those states that decided to set up their own exchanges, those governors that set up their own exchanges are actually seeing some success. You played Governor Beshear, and they're signing up 1,000 people a day. Governor Inslee in Washington State had 35,000 people enrolled by the end of last week.
You're right. Yep.
So you've had a lot of these governors in a variety of ways, whether it be not expanding Medicaid, not setting up the exchanges, seeking to ban federal healthcare navigators from counseling people on how to get enrolled, systematically seek to sabotage this law. The states that are working with the administration are seeing success. So I think this will get fixed, but in the meantime, Democratic governors are actually making it work.
I know. It's really all the calls that we've had from people who have successfully navigated the system and either have bought or know what they're going to buy are all from states that are running their own programs.
Absolutely.
And it's too bad whoever was hired to do those programs at the state wasn't hired by HHS for the national exchange as well. So we're going to talk governor's races here with Danny Cantor for the first half hour. Then we'll talk to Clay Johnson, who was a tech innovator, part of that team in the Obama White House, and get his take on how we can fix the website and how long it's going to take. But first, Dan with the big stories of the day.
Other headlines making news on this Thursday. Congressman Dan Kildee of Michigan settled a bet he made with Joe Kennedy of Massachusetts on the House floor yesterday. The Democrat and Detroit Tigers fan wore a Boston Red Sox tie and gave a 1-minute floor speech to congratulate his friend from the Commonwealth for the Red Sox beating the Tigers back in the ALCS, saying it was very painful to be seen in public with the tie that he had to wear.
That's a pretty easy bet, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot of money on the line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he spent a minute on the House floor talking about it. It's better than reading Green Eggs and Ham, I guess.
And that takes us to last night, where the Boston Red Sox came out swinging in Game 1 of the World Series. St. Louis Cardinals did not look great. The Sox winning 8-1. Started with a 3-1 shot in the first inning. Cardinals manager took ownership right away. Mike Matheny saying they got a wake-up call. It's not the type of team that they've been all season. Went on to say his players were frustrated and even embarrassed. And Game 2 back at Fenway tonight.
I admired the fact that he didn't whine or complain about that call at second base in the first inning or whatever. He just said, we got whooped.
I mean,
we got to do better.
7 runs.
Yeah,
that one call isn't going to make that big of a difference. You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to have to own up to it at that point. You got clobbered.
Yeah, they didn't play well.
And the real estate market has been good to Madonna. She just sold her 17,000 square foot Beverly Hills mansion for $20 million, just under her $22 million asking price for 9 bedrooms, 15 bathrooms, a tennis court, and a gym. But she bought it 10 years ago for just $12 million, so an $8 million profit. TMZ reports she's looking to downsize in Los Angeles because she's not spending much time there anymore. She still does have her homes in London and New York.
Wait. 9 bedrooms and 15 bathrooms?
Yeah.
That's almost 2 bathrooms for every bedroom.
Right?
Why?
I don't know. She's really got to go.
Weird. That's totally weird, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have one bath for every bedroom and then a powder room, maybe for guests. I don't know.
Doesn't want anyone to wait.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
life is good.
Life doesn't suck.
Yeah, she's downsizing. Right. She'll probably go into the next town. We'll have 8 bedrooms and 20 bathrooms. I don't know. Hey, so Danny, we have a big governor's race coming up in Virginia. I want to talk to you about one in New Jersey as well. But first, don't we underrate the importance of governor's races?
Well, I think we absolutely do. And if you look at the Obamacare fight, I think you see exactly why. I mean, Mitt Romney discussed this. His agenda, both on social policy and economic policy, was rejected last year. Immediately after the election, Republican governors across the country sought to systematically, state by state, implement the agenda, be it on tax policy, cutting high-end taxes and paying for it by cutting schools and raising sales taxes and other taxes that disproportionately hit the middle class. They've started mandating ultrasound for women considering abortion, 20-week abortion ban, suppressing voters' rights, harassing climate scientists. I mean, this is the agenda of the National Republican Party, and it's happening state by state, which is why we got to win these elections.
Yeah, and I mean, I find as an activist myself that we tend to we're so excited, and big contributors, donors, be involved in a presidential campaign because that's like really, really exciting, or a U.S. Senate race, even races for Congress, and tend not to put so much focus on governors and on state legislators. Sure. And we're seeing the effect. We're suffering, I should say, the effects of that today, right?
Well, absolutely.
With reapportionment and on and on.
Look at the marriage fight over time. It's happening state by state, despite all the talk nationally. I mean, you now have 14 states that allow for marriage equality, and I think it's critically important we elect Democratic governors for all of these issues. And it's not just the social stuff, it's the economic issues, too.
Right. So that's my plug for why the DGA, why the Democratic Governors Association, is so important.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Now let's talk about Virginia. Tonight is the last debate of the campaign between Terry McAuliffe, Democrat, and Ken Cuccinelli, Republican. Is this Cuccinelli's last gasp?
Well, it is. I think over the last 2 months, really since Labor Day, Virginia has focused on what exactly he's done throughout his career and what he'd do as governor. And for his entire career, he's focused on a seriously divisive, radical social agenda, be it related to personhood bills that ban abortion, all abortion.
Or contraception.
And the pill. He's harassed climate scientists through the Attorney General's office. He's demonized gays and lesbians. And he has never focused on the issues that this race is about, which is schools, infrastructure, job creation. That's what Terry McAuliffe has talked about through the entire campaign, to the extent that that Cuccinelli has talked about these issues. He's proposed, again, a massive tax cut for corporations and the ultra-rich. The only way to pay for it is to raise local taxes or make dramatic reductions to schools and public safety. It's what Republican governors all across the country are doing, but it's not popular because it's not good for the middle class.
Before we get more into this race and some of the arguments you've made in your most recent communication about it, to people listening or watching this program in other parts of the country who might be saying, what the hell, why is Bill spending all this time just talking about a governor's race in Virginia? Right. We don't live in Virginia. Why is Virginia important?
Well, this is a state that really represents some of the battleground states all over the country, demographically, very similar. So it's a state that President Obama won twice. In the Tea Party wave of 2010, you had Republican governors elected in states like Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Maine, Florida, Iowa. So these are states where there are gubernatorial elections next year, and this is really a test run for this national Republican agenda that Ken Cuccinelli is giving voice to right now, and seems to be getting resoundingly rejected. So we expect that we'll look at this race, and it'll tell us a lot, particularly the state of the Republican Party and how 2014 looks for Democrats.
Is this sort of a referendum on the government shutdown?
I don't think it is. I think it is a referendum undoubtedly on the National Republican brand and the National Republican agenda. I mean, NBC Wall Street Journal, it's been talked about a lot. 24% approve of the National Republican Party, 21% approve of the Tea Party. You're going to have all of these Republican governors up next year, and if that remains the same, and there's no reason to believe that it won't, they're going to get thrown out.
So you point out three arguments working in Terry McAuliffe's favor. One is time is running out, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have Terry has had a substantial lead. I think it's 7 to 8 points at this point. Early voting appears to be going well for McAuliffe. Public policy polling had him up by 18 points among those who have already voted, which is the same margin Governor McDonnell won the early vote by last time. And Cuccinelli's running out of resources, it would appear. He's not up on TV in the Washington, D.C. media market, which is critical for him communicating with moderates and women, where he's really suffering. So I think he needs a big game changer tonight. I can't imagine how he gets it. What we know is that he'll come out with really a kitchen sink of attacks.
Well, yeah, that's your second part. It's just to say on the spots. Living in Washington, D.C., the spots run here for Northern Virginia. Yeah. I haven't seen a Cuccinelli spot in weeks. There was some early on.
Look, this is what happened with a campaign that is struggling. I think he's struggled with resources because I think his message is not resonating with voters, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where people are not going to invest in a candidate who is not doing well because of his radical agenda.
What can we expect from the kitchen sink approach?
Oh, I mean, he's attacked Terry on everything. He's lurched from message to message here over the last few months. He's made a false claim about Terry's tax plan, that it'll raise taxes. He's attacked his business record. So I don't think there's any length to which Cuccinelli won't go to try to win this. And I don't think, he'll say whatever it takes, I think, true or not.
But don't, Terry McAuliffe had better not, relax yet, because it was reported, I saw yesterday, that the knight on a white horse is coming in to save Ken Cuccinelli. Rick Santorum.
Yeah, Rick Santorum coming in to save the day. This is after right in the middle of the shutdown that Cuccinelli appeared with Ted Cruz. He campaigned with Mike Huckabee at Liberty University last week. He's got Rand Paul coming on Monday. He's with Pat McCrory, the governor of North Carolina today, who actually is a great example of Republican governors who don't do what they say, because he gets asked last year in a debate running as the moderate mayor of Charlotte, what new abortion restrictions would you sign if you're elected governor? He gave a one-word answer. None. Right. As soon as he gets in, massive attack on women's health care rights, massive voter disenfranchisement bills. So he's a great example of what you can expect from Republican governors.
But if Cuccinelli were trying to prove that he is not the extremist that Democrats have said that he is, and I believe he is, then why would he appear with Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Rick Santorum?
Well, I think what he's decided here is that there is
his base.
He's been rejected by the vast middle here, who have decided that his radical social agenda is not what Virginia is all about. So I think he thinks his only path to victory here is through this far right fringe of the Republican Party. It's not a winning strategy, particularly when you look at those numbers I mentioned. I mean, this is a deeply unpopular brand that he is now inextricably linked to.
Now, I have to tell you, pose a question and take a break, but Everybody that I've talked to who knows anything about Virginia politics says that Terry McAuliffe is going to win, but the key point will be turnout. Turnout, and let's find out about what's planned in that department, plus some of the other states when we come back here with Danny Cantor from the Democratic Governors Association, DGA, I believe it. No, it's democraticgovernors.org, right? You got it. democraticgovernors.org. Bill Press Show. We'll be right back.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show. Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 25 minutes after the hour here, the full court press. We're talking politics at the gubernatorial level, particularly here, with Danny Kanner from the Democratic Governors Association, Communications Director. Always good to have you in the studio, Peter.
We're tweeting
before we move along.
Yeah. Just want to point out we're tweeting at BP Show all throughout the show. Definitely follow us there. You can chime in. We're reading your comments all day long. That's what Danny Zimmerman wrote in. Speaking of Democratic governors, the state of California is flourishing, and hats off to Governor Brown and how he got California turned around out there. Great success story.
Absolutely. I wish I could take credit for it.
Yeah, right, I'm sure.
Any successes in the first Brown administration, I will take credit for. But this one, even though Jerry tried to lure me back, I resisted. But he's done a great job and has brought California back from depression back out there, a recession certainly. And now California's back in the black, and they're building a high-speed rail system, and lots of good things going on at that.
Look, Republican governors love to stake claim to fiscal responsibility, but Jerry Brown went in there and cleaned the mess up in a way that I don't know anyone else could have. So.
How many? So what's a breakdown now of Democratic versus Republican?
So you've got
governors?
30 Republican governors, many of whom won in that Tea Party wave of 2010. So we're on offense next year. We think there are a number of solid pickup opportunities for us when you look at Scott Walker and Rick Scott and Tom Corbett and Paul LePage. So look, we're looking forward to next year, and as long as the Republicans continue to speak their mind and actually govern in the states and here in Washington, we feel very good that people will be ready for a change.
Is Kasich up next year, too?
Kasich is up next year.
So that whole gang,
Rick Snyder, Scott Walker, John Kasich, Rick Scott, Paul LePage, Terry Branstad, all of these guys who've all done exactly what we talked about with Cuccinelli, which is they've cut taxes on the highest income earners, and they do it by slashing education and raising taxes on the middle class and abortion bans and voter suppression, everything that the National Republicans would love to do here in Washington but can't because of a Democratic Senate and Democratic president. They're doing state by state, and we're going to make the case for change, and I think we're going to be successful.
This is a good opportunity. Can't let you go without asking. There's another governor's race this year, of course, in New Jersey. We don't hear much about it. Barbara Buono, Chris Christie. Yeah. You got a shot there?
Look, I think we have a shot because this is a deep blue state. Governor Christie opposes marriage equality, vetoed a minimum wage increase, has cut property tax relief, all while 400,000 New Jerseyans remain out of work. Governor O'Malley in Maryland is fond of saying that when you can't govern, you better entertain, and that's exactly what Chris Christie's done. But I think when people focus on the issues here, we've got a shot.
All right, so if people want to find out more about the governor's races, where do they go and maybe even help out?
Hey, democraticgovernors.org. Follow us on Twitter at DemGovs. It's a big couple of years here.
All right, you got it. Danny, thanks for being there, man. Thanks for getting a good fight where it really, really counts. I appreciate you coming in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
And when we come back, we'll talk to Clay Johnson about this website problem, see if he knows how to fix it.
This is the Bill Press Show. streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
Here we go now, 33 minutes after the hour, Thursday, October 24. How about it? It's the Bill Press Show. Good to have you with us today. Focus at the White House briefing yesterday and on the news last night still, for the most part, is on problems with the rollout of the healthcare.gov site for people to sign up for their health exchanges. Clay Johnson is a co-founder of Blue State Digital, and he worked once in the Obama White House as a Presidential Innovation Fellow. He's now the CEO of the Department of Better Technology and joins us on our news line this morning to give us his insights. Hey, Clay, good to have you with us. Thank you.
Good morning, Bill. Good to be here.
So let me just ask you, this is a big challenge. A lot of people from 36 different states. Were these problems inevitable, do you think, with the launch of a new site like this?
With the system that government uses in order to acquire technology, yes, it was absolutely inevitable. The standings group came out last week and found they took a list of all federal information technology purchases of greater than $10 million and found that 94% of them fail. So with a 94% failure rate, I would imagine that this was, in fact, inevitable.
Well, that's stunning. Well, we've been talking to a lot of people who've called in, many of whom have called in, and I'd say most of them called in to say, hey, we've had very good success. We've been on, we shopped around, we found what we liked. We may not have bought yet, but we know what we're going to do. But every one of them, Clay, every one of those people were from a state exchange, right? Well, if the states could get it right, why couldn't the feds get it right?
Well, because of the way that the federal government buys technology. It's called the Federal Acquisition Regulation. It's a system called procurement, and I know these are really boring words.
That sounds a little wonky, but go ahead.
I just lost you half of your listeners. Government has to go through a process to get, the absolute cheapest bidder or the best value bidder, and sometimes this process can take a really long time. And so what government does instead often is it creates big contracts with very large vendors to buy a bunch of things through. So instead of saying, I want to make a contract with you to build a website, it's, I want a $5 million contract for you to build a website. It's, I want to make $1 billion contract with you to buy everything that I need, but I've always got to go through you to get that stuff. So that's what's happened here, and I mean the big problem here is that those contracts are going to people with very good lawyers and not people with very good not very good programmers.
Can it be fixed, or will they have to scrap it and start from scratch?
It's going to be fixed. I've got a lot of faith in the people in there. They've brought some people from my cadre of Presidential Innovation Fellows in to work on this. I mean, the good news is that the problems look simple to fix, at least to me on the outside. The bad news is that, for the most part, they've got bad people working on it, but they're getting some good people in. I look forward to hearing what the contractors say during today's testimony, and I think it's about 20 minutes.
Is Verizon leading the charge?
No, Verizon's not leading the charge. HHS and CMS is leading the charge, and now the White House is leading the charge under the leadership of Todd Park and Jeff Zients. Verizon is coming in to basically fix the bandwidth issue. And the bandwidth issue, by bandwidth I mean the actual pipes that are going in, the series of tubes that this thing is connected to, so to speak. How fast the website is, but they're not fixing the bugs that are in there. So imagine that you've got a shopping mall that can't fit everybody in it. Chances are, if you mismanage the shopping mall, you've got if you misplanned the shopping mall, you've also got to rebuild the road that's going up to the shopping mall. So we need the Presidential Innovation Fellows to fix the mall and Verizon to fix the road that goes up to it.
What was a Presidential Innovation Fellow? I'm not familiar with that program. Are these people
program
from the private sector who come in and help the government, or what?
Yeah, it's a new program that started last year. I was one of the first ones, and they basically they're political appointees, presidential appointments that last 6 months. That say, hey, will you come in, technology-oriented private sector person to work on a specific problem? The thing that I worked on was a project called RFP-EZ, and it made it super easy for small businesses to bid on technology-oriented government contracts. And what it did was save the government 30% on all the contracts that ran through it.
So what about, do you know people who are then part of this so-called tech surge?
No, I don't know anybody in the tech surge. They're being I just find it really humorous that we're using Iraq and Afghanistan.
I know. We were talking about that earlier this morning. I just wonder if these are good people. I mean, or where they're coming from.
The selection process is pretty rigorous, and the talent pool. You can go on WhiteHouse.gov or just Google for Presidential Innovation Fellows and read some of the bios of the entire class of Innovation Fellows. I don't know which particular ones have been assigned to this healthcare.gov cleanup crew.
But that's part of their pool. Now, how long do you think they've got to get to fix it before it really becomes a serious problem? I mean, right now it seems to me everybody's talking about it, but if they get it fixed relatively soon, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and I think the media narrative hasn't caught up to the technical progress that's already been made, unfortunately. But the thing is, they've already made lots of improvements.
It's already gotten better. Is that what you're saying?
It's already gotten better, and I think it's gonna be fixed in a matter of weeks, not months. I think it'll be at an acceptable level in a matter of weeks and not months. But the question is whether or not the public is going to be able to pay attention to past the politics and towards the real thing that needs to happen, which isn't fixing the website; it's fixing the bugs and the regulations that created it in the first place. And that's the federal acquisition regulation. That's procurement, and it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I haven't heard anybody talk about that.
I think that's a really important piece of this. Is that it's going to take weeks, not months, because I think when you hear things like 5 million lines of code that need to be rewritten and all these things.
That's the thing. That's the one thing that's driving me crazy, because any programmer in the world knows not to measure their efficiency and how many million lines of code there are. Better software has less lines of code than bad software. And what we don't need is to take out 5 million lines of code and replace it with 5 other million lines of code.
That's good to know.
We may need to replace it with 500,000 lines of code. It all depends on how this thing is architected. But the idea that these guys on the inside are measuring themselves on the kinds of metrics that the rest of the industry gave up on about 30 years ago is preposterous and frightening to me.
Wait, the internet was around 30 years ago?
No, but computer programming was around 30 years ago.
The other question that keeps coming up now, and some people are starting to say, okay, we know they got some problems and we're going to fix that. But now, how many people are really signing up? This has become the number of enrollees, if you will, right, has become a big issue. But isn't it true in sites like this that people tend to shop around for a while before they actually buy?
Yeah, but I got to tell you, Bill, it scares the heck that when Secretary Sebelius is asked how many people have signed up, she's dodging the question. To me, what that means is
not
again,
many,
well, it could be not many, or it could be that they can't even run the report because the reports on the back end are buggy, right? Because all of this is all the reporting is coming from the same system, so they probably don't know, which is even more terrifying. I'd imagine that they're working in the blind. And again, I got to ask, why are we with a 96 or 94% failure rate? Why are we going with the same set of vendors every time to do this stuff? Why don't we use small businesses, small innovative technology companies that have a track record of success, and by the way, charge a fraction of the price?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question, but that is the right question. We'll just have to keep pounding and try to get some answers there, Clay. So, yesterday, in fact, at the briefing, I think it was Peter Alexander from NBC News, kept asking, he asked the question, how many people have enrolled so far? And Jay Carney gave his stock answer that we're not going to do a daily report. We're going to report once a month on how many have signed up. And then Peter Alexander asked the question, do you even know how many people have signed up? And Carney wouldn't answer that one either. You're right.
Yeah,
they may not.
I think that there's something absolutely terrifying behind the answer as to why they're not giving out those numbers.
Yeah.
And it's not because, look, here's the thing, is that the numbers that they've already given are really poor, right? You had 19 million people visit the site and 500,000 sign up. That's a 2% response rate.
Right.
That's not great. That's really not great.
Right.
Especially when you're up against the sort of legislative deadlines that they're up against. So the question is, why don't they know? And I suspect that those are technically oriented too. And if they're flying in the blind on the back end, then it calls into question a lot of other stuff like security and that kind of stuff.
I don't know, Clay. It sounds to me like we got to get you back in there.
Come on,
I think
right?
we may have to reappoint you as an innovative tech fellow here.
Well, maybe. I'm not sure I'm ready to go back in.
Ready to serve your country here? Okay, all right. Clay Johnson, appreciate your good work and your time this morning. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
All right, Clay Johnson, at the Department of Better Technology, CEO.
Like politics? Then like The Bill Press Show on Facebook. This is The Bill Press Show.
11 minutes before the top of the hour, winding up here on a Thursday, October 24, big day in our nation's capital. We'll get back to your calls about health exchanges and maybe the success or the problems that you have had at 866-55-PRESS. Meanwhile, Peter?
In 1969, Gallup did their first poll on legalizing marijuana, whether or not Americans were in favor of legalizing marijuana. And in 1969,
I voted yes.
You were one of the 12% that said, yes, they think that it should be legalized. In 2012, they did another study, another poll, and it obviously jumped up.
Yeah.
48% of Americans. 1 year later, just recently,
48% last year.
Last year, 48%. This year, the Gallup just released their latest poll. It jumped 10 percentage points to 58%. It's the first time that a majority of Americans in this Gallup poll, which is one of the biggest polls that's taken, now favors legalizing marijuana. 58% of Americans favor legalizing it.
Legalizing,
Yes.
not medical marijuana.
Right.
Not
Legalizing
decriminalization.
That's it. Legalizing it.
Like Colorado and Washington State.
That's right.
did this year.
That's right.
When that happened, we said other states would follow. Wow.
It's amazing that 10 full points in a year that it's jumped. And I mean, I guess you could count that up to the fact that people are seeing what's happening in Colorado and Washington. And there are obviously going to be some monetary benefits with taxes. They're taxing this stuff. Yeah, it's turning out well for people who are in favor of pot legalization.
Well, there's more and more pot out there. I mean, yesterday at the White House, when Jay Carney said President Obama believes that we can still get comprehensive immigration reform passed before the end of the year, I tweeted out, "What are they smoking?"
Maybe they're part of that 58%.
Back to the health exchanges for just a minute here. Bob is calling from Clearmont, Florida. Hey, Bob.
Hey, Bill.
Have you been online? What have you found out? What have you found out?
I have been online. Unfortunately, I can't sign my family policy up because my daughter's a Canadian citizen as well as U.S. citizen. I haven't gotten her Social Security card yet.
Oh.
But the reason I called is because I worked on a project with CGI up in Montreal.
Really?
I can tell you. I did, yeah. I worked for a company called AXA Canada Tech. I think we have AXA Financial here in the States. But I can tell you that CGI is really good at project management, but they really suck at software design. And I'm a big fan of the president, but he didn't ask for my input before he put CGI in charge of this. I can tell you one other thing before I go, Bill.
Go ahead.
I'm going to be at the Democratic State Conference in Orlando this weekend, and I'm going to hand Debbie Wasserman Schultz my resume, and hopefully I'll be up there in a couple of weeks, and I'll be able to stop into your station and say hello personally.
All right. Well, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was here last week, so she'll tell you how to find us. That's good, Bob. I hope you make it. Congratulations. You can tell Debbie that I give you my full support here.
There you go.
But interesting to hear about CGI, rather.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Good at management, but lousy at
delivering the product. Yeah, that seems to be the problem.
Which is what we count on. I thought look, Morning Joe does this. What did we learn today? Right at the end of the show. To me, the most interesting thing that I learned today is from you, our callers, and from our guest as well, that where signups for the health exchanges is really working well, and that's important to know that a lot of people are signing up. Or if they haven't bought yet, they are at least finding all the information that they need to make an informed decision. But where it's really working well are in the 14 states that have their own sign-up system and their own health exchanges. Those states got it right, and the federal government, with the 36 states, that's where the problems are.
Yeah.
Let the states show the way. I'll be back with today's party shot.
This is the Bill Press Show. The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is The Bill Press Show.
Well, we've been talking about it all morning long. This isn't rocket science, friends. The best thing to do when you screw up is just admit it. Admit it and fix it, which is what the Obama administration should be busy doing. I'm sick of their lame excuses we hear every day at the White House, like, one, we never expected so much traffic. I mean, why not? You can't be surprised that millions of Americans want health insurance. Two, that every new rollout, including Apple, has problems. Yeah, but Apple fixed its problems right away. And three, that many Americans just aren't tech savvy enough to get through the program. Yeah, well, that's why the program should have been easy to use and foolproof. Look, the Affordable Care Act is still a great program. It can survive. It will survive. It must survive. So the Obama administration had just better stop making excuses, admit that they screwed up, get the right people in, get busy, and fix the damn thing fast. My parting shot for today, folks, Van Jones, one of the new co-hosts of Crossfire, will be here with us tomorrow, as well as Melanie Sloan from Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Have a good one. See you right back here tomorrow.
This is The Bill Press Show.